Now 6 p.m. The date is October the 3rd, 2024. We will call to order the meeting for mayor and city council for the city of Statesboro, Georgia. We're going to open up our public hearing, consideration of motion to approve resolution 2024-27, a resolution setting the millage rate for ad valorem property taxes for the 2024 calendar year for the city of Statesboro. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, so we're going to call on Charles Payne to give us an
Mayor, members of the council, annually we do, you adopt the budget, and then it's the responsibility of the mayor and the council to set the millage rate. And when we prepared the budget, we had, staff had in mind a millage rate in order to be able to balance the budget, minimize the use of fund balance, although we would use some fund balance in order to balance the budget, given a number of presentations, so today I'm not going to go through that, but our recommendation was to set the millage rate at 9.125. And with that, we would use about $700,000 of fund balance in order to be able to balance the budget. A couple of things that were driving the need for an increase in the millage rate. In December of last year, council approved a new pay plan. That pay plan cost $2.3 million in order to implement that pay plan. And with that pay plan, about 1.2 or 1.3 is in the general fund. The other thing that also is driving that is we needed to move $1.2 million from the general fund over to the fire fund in order to keep the fire fund solvent. The fire fund had been utilizing fund balance for a number of years, but we received a SAFER grant, and that SAFER grant allowed us to be able to hire 12 additional firefighters, but with all the additional personnel, some added costs like equipment and things of that nature, we are responsible for. And so with that, those things cause us to recommend this millage rate. It is something that we talked about last year. And again, I would just simply say our employees are our most important resource. And in this market that we are in, the labor market is tough. And if we did not increase our, implement a new pay plan, just remind you, last year we were dealing with 18 openings in the police department. With the pay plan, our salaries for our police officers went from $46,000 to a start pay of $55,000 a year. We've gone from 18 openings down to 7 openings. We had, with our fire department, our fire employees went from starting pay of about $43,000 a year to now a little bit better than $50,000 a year. As far as the police is concerned, at the time that you adopted the pay plan, it was the highest salary of law enforcement officers in the region, and that even included Savannah. And so we know we play leapfrog with pay plans, but those are the reasons that we are recommending this increased millage rate, and that's to make sure that we can stay competitive with the growth that's going on in our community. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Payne. All right. I will move on. Is there anyone here to speak for this request? Mr. Allman? For the record, please state your name.
Hi, Don Armel. I'm here to support the full 9.125 millage rate. And as we found out last week, hoping that we don't get hit with another storm didn't work out very well. So we really need to have, keep ourselves competitive, as you suggest, so that we have good personnel, and we need to increase the number of personnel, as you suggest, because of I think you said there was going to be 4,000 new, or we have permitted 4,000 new housing units, which could lead to what, 13,000 people more? And if we increase the city by that much, that means there's going to be more calls for police, more first responder calls, fire is going to be increased. You know, with more people, you're going to have more accidents and more health-related needs. So we really need to do this, and let's just pull the Band-Aid off and get it done once, well, third time. Can't see my time yet. But,
You have to use it all.
pardon? I'm just agreeing everything that you're suggesting that needs to be done, because I want to see this city be a #1 choice for people in the surrounding community. So I think that's the best way to do it. And not to mention that when we have good services, it does actually help reduce the cost of insurance for homeowners. So I think the difference between what it's going to cost a homeowner, your example was a $200,000 home is going to raise it $140. That is less than $12 a month. I'm sure that if you get a bad rating in for services, that insurance is going to be more than $12 a month. And just as an example of how it affects people, if we're only talking about $12 a month and you're in a rental situation and your rent goes up more than the $12, that's not the city that's doing that. That's the owner of the property that is taking advantage of that time to increase, and maybe they're also catching up with, you know, all the other costs for home needs, but you should ask them, did they really need to go up past what was actually being taxed? That's my time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else to speak for?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I spoke last week about, last session I should say, about supporting the full millage increase. As Mr. Armel says, it's time to rip the Band-Aid off and do what's right for our citizens. $12 a month, basically. Don't go to McDonald's one night a month. Last time I went to McDonald's was $18 for 2 of us to eat. No big deal. Second thing is, don't tell me you back the blue when you vote this tax increase down, because you're not backing the blue, because that's not enabling us to put the police officers, the firefighters, and EMS people out on the streets that we need in this community. This week has proven it. We had terrible congestion when the red lights were out at the 4-way stop signs, because the police or the police department was out answering other calls that were more important than directing traffic. Be nice to have like a mini chief traffic division. Again, I can go up, maybe 5 or 6 officers that can go out and direct traffic. We aren't done with natural disasters here, by no stretch of the imagination. There's 3 brewing right now in the Gulf of one in the Gulf of Mexico and 2 in the Atlantic, of which 2 have got a good possibility of hitting the East Coast. So if you're going to hope and pray that we don't have a natural disaster, no. And ma'am, I would hope you would get off your cell phone while I'm speaking to you, Miss Henley.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And we want to make sure all of our comments are directed towards the DSs. Okay. All right. With that being said, is there anyone else to speak for?
Marcus Toole, 8 Crescent Avenue. I mean, I think most of y'all know that I am not exactly rolling in dough, considering where I work. And, I'll have to do some creative accounting to afford the tax increases, the real tax increases, both at the county and the city level. But I'll be honest with you, this hurricane, had it not turned when it did, what we would be spending on this storm would be an order of magnitude different from what we're spending. I mean, it was coming right for us, and it turned right at the last second. And there's no guarantee that we won't have another one this year. And the chances that we'll have more in the next 5 years are pretty darn good, considering the number we've had in the last 5 to 10 years. And I just think, dipping into the emergency fund for the regular budget just isn't a good idea. It doesn't make me feel good. Doesn't make me feel safer. I'm not thrilled about paying more taxes, but I also understand that if this hurricane had not turned and we were experiencing some of the communities that are further west, south, or north of us, we would be in a very different budget situation than we are even now.
Thanks. Is there anyone else to speak for?
I'm really more neutral. My name is Victor Dickey. I've been trying to look around and see if anybody's as old as I am, because I've been a resident of Statesboro since 1966. And I know you weren't even born then.
No, sir.
Because I coached him in baseball.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of changes, been a lot of positive changes. I do have one question,
Yes,
if I can ask it, and maybe
Yes,
Ms. Finnegan,
Yes,
because I understand the fund.
Mhm.
How do you replenish that fund? Is it only from taxes? I'm just curious. I've always been curious.
And you talking about the fund, you're talking about the fund balance.
Fund balance, yes.
Now, the fund balance is not just made up of, that fund, the general fund is not just made up of property tax. The property is also, we have we get franchise fees, we get taxes from insurance. There are a number of funds, because that fund, the general fund itself is about $25 million. The property taxes will, if at the full 9.125, will generate about $10 million. So it's not even half of what the general fund is.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you, and when we talk about fund balance, the thing about fund balance, and I say it to the council all the time, the fund balance is not, it's a non-recurring fund. So when you spend it, it doesn't recur next year.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to get it back is to save money or increase revenue in some kind of way. And for city governments, there are very limited ways to raise those funds. And the mayor, just allow me another minute or so.
Sure.
The way to increase that revenue is to grow our tax base.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we talk about 4,000 new housing units for our community, that's growing the tax base. And I've been here 5 years, and this is the most development we've seen since I've been in Statesboro, and probably some of the most development ever, because most people did not build in the city. Most people built outside the city, so the tax base is outside the city.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the presentation that I made, one meal for the city will generate about $1.1 million. one meal in the county generates $3.5 million because it's they have a larger base. And so when we growing that tax base, so getting new houses, getting new businesses, and one of the other challenges, industrial base is important, but most industrial base is not going to be inside the city limits. All of our industrial base is outside the city limits, although we serve them. So that will never be a part of our tax base. But they are good revenue utility customers. So that's how we grow our tax base, and that's how we lower that tax rate. And then just the last thing I'll say, and this is like water under the dam. 40 years ago, a decision not to work with the county and the local option sales tax. That's a real loss to our community, and that would, our tax rate probably would be like $3 million
Yeah.
if we had that, but that's not an option.
Yeah. Thank you for answering that question, because there's a lot of people in the community that are confused about, they say, well, once you spend it, you never get it back. Well, yes and no. Yeah, it's like a savings account, is the way I look at it. And but I do appreciate everything all you folks do up here. You have hard decisions and you do a good job. And all I can do is I'm a big promoter of Statesboro. I encourage Statesboro. And the biggest thing we can do is get people to shop, spend their money in Statesboro and Bullock County, because look, like you said, a year ago, everybody went to Texas Roadhouse and Five Guys and everything somewhere else. So you spend your money here, and your taxes eventually, this is my opinion, will go down. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, anybody else to speak for? All right. Is there anyone here to speak against? All right. Seeing that there is none, we will make an offer for anyone who wants to speak for or against again. All right. Seeing that there is none.
Mr. Mayor, I can't just sit here and not say something.
Okay, go right ahead.
I'm Bill Thomas, resident City of Statesboro. It's unconscionable for me to think that of the people that are here, nobody would come up and voice any kind of dissatisfaction with another tax increase. We've seen tax increases from the county. We've seen tax increases from the city last year, and we're looking at more tax increases from the city. What I have not seen, and maybe it's because my eyes have not been open, I'll admit I haven't been to council meetings in quite some time, so I may be blind to these things, but I don't ever recall in the past 10 years being invited to a city council meeting where we all were challenged to find ways to save money. And what we are doing as city leaders to shave money off of budgets so that these tax increases are not necessary. I took a little look around the city in the past week or so, and I noticed, for example, that, relationships with garages, for example, in the city of Statesboro. Most of the garages that I've talked to and dealt with don't have those evaporative cooling fans. They're sold in town by one of the large, Napa, I think, sells them, but they're about between $4,000 and $6,000 a piece. And I noticed that the city had 6 or 7 of them. So it seems to me that our city has money that our departments haven't spent yet, and the race is on. Don't worry about it. If you need it, we'll get it. And I haven't seen any kind of austerity movements take place. And have you guys, maybe I'm wrong, but have you guys called together a meeting and said, hey, let's save some money. Let's see how we can do that so we can save the taxpayers money. The politicians around America today, that's the easiest thing for them to say, is let's have a tax increase. They're worried about where their money's coming from to fund all of the grandiose things, projects they want to fund. But they don't seem to have very much empathy to the taxpayer. They don't seem worried about where the taxpayer is going to get the money to send to government. And that's my primary concern. And I'm certain that, you know, you guys are making a tough decision. I'm sure that it's going to affect your positions on this council. And all I'm hearing is a lot of dissatisfaction about the choice to raise taxes again. You raised taxes last year 7.5%, I think. We've got new tax revenues coming in for stormwater that have hit the taxpayer hard. If your roof sheds water, you're paying tax on it. If your driveway sheds water, you're paying tax on it. You got an additional penny T-Splost, 40% increase in the average value of a home, that increased revenue. People are asking, you got all of these new sources of revenue. Where's it going, and why do you need more? And I think it's a legitimate question. But given that, the additional revenues that the city is bringing in, and any kind of apparent lack of concern, that you guys are doing everything you can do to cut costs, deliver the same services but at a cheaper price. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. In fact, I'd like to see a lot more of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. And as a point of clarity, I'm going to extend a point of privilege from the chair. Just kind of give some insights. I know Mr. Thomas has not been here, and I'm quite sure there's some folks that's out in social media land that they may be watching this for the first time. And so Mr. Penny laid out the fact that our general fund is about $25 million. And of that $25 million, $10 million of that actually comes from property taxes. Okay? So that means that the city of Statesboro is really punching well above its weight class when providing services to the people that live here. Though we have T-Splost and SPLOST funds, none of those dollars actually go to paying public safety, public works, our fire department, those folks. Those dollars do not go there. And we do not want to see a situation where we are practicing using funds in the wrong way within this organization. With that also being said, compared to other communities that's our size, our tax rate is somewhere in and around the middle. The advantage that other communities have on us is that they have the loss tax, which is the local option sales tax. And the loss tax that the city of Statesboro is not receiving would actually be an additional $5 million that our community would be able to receive. But because, well, before any of us got up here, there seemed to be some disagreement between the city and the county as to how that would be used. And it ultimately went to our Board of Education. So that $5 million that would have been coming to the city, and whatever X amount of dollars that would be going to the county, that now goes to the school board. And so with that being said, if we had that loss tax, our millage rate would be probably in and around the 4 or 5, if not less, mills. And so that would help us out tremendously, but unfortunately we are not there. So we like to be transparent. And I do want to give the staff their kudos. This staff watches every penny that's being spent, and they leverage our resources in such a way that we're able to provide services well beyond what we typically have. And just kind of give you guys some insight. And I want to thank the staff, Mr. Penny, Jason, and John for putting this together. Between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, this is what your local government is doing. Statesboro Police Department handled 508 calls for service on Friday. On the 3 days? Over the 3 days. We had 55 employees on Friday having to do overtime. On Saturday, 32 doing overtime. These are dispatchers and officers. And then on Sunday, dispatchers and officers, we had 25. This is us working really hard to address the needs of our community. 280 of the streets were impacted with trees and debris. 500 plus trees have been cleared. 950 of combined man hours used. 3 intersections with traffic control deployed. A lot of work has been going on just in this space. And so we do want to thank the men and women of this organization for doing their part to lead us through a very difficult moment. With that, I'm sending the point of privilege, and then I ask council a motion to end the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we want to open it up for council discussion. Council, any discussion?
Well, y'all already know how I feel. I'm very clear on where I stand.
Okay.
And I've been standing on that since a year ago. So we wouldn't have to be in this point that we are in now. But since the storm has come, it's almost like a prophecy. If your eyes don't open now, I just don't know what to say.
All right, anyone else for council?
I want to say I appreciate Paulette. Thank you, Paulette. Great citizen, great councilwoman. Appreciate everything you do. But I do have to give you my opinion. I am still against the tax increase at this time. That is because the housing market is skyrocketing. And I don't know what's going to happen in the next year. But over the next year, I will reassess this from my point of view. Just this seat, just District 4. I'll reassess the situation and make another informed decision on our millage rate this time next year. But I will never, ever allow the employment of any city employees be threatened in any way. No one ever has to feel that they're going to lose their job or lose their benefits or their employment will never be threatened. Won't let that happen. It's not going to happen. Even if we don't approve of this tax millage rate increase, it's still not going to happen. We won't let it happen. That's what I have to say.
Anything else from council?
I also respect everybody's opinion here, both in the crowd and up here. I think we all have the best interests of the city. I have not changed my opinion on the property. I stand where I stood a week ago. I support the town and I'm praying for us all. You know, we all take the time away from our families to be here, and it's nice to get the respect we deserve when we're up here. Thank you all for addressing me. You know, if anybody wants to speak with me privately, that'd be great. But I stand by where I stood last week.
Okay. Anything further?
I am prepared to offer a compromise again. I do also appreciate the positions that have been expressed. I hear you. You may well be right. I'm not comfortable. I'm hopeful, like John is, that it's going to have more revenue than we expect with the growth. And I'm not comfortable putting that much burden on taxpayers who are already having a hard time. I'm more comfortable with the city assuming a little more risk, getting closer from the 28% to the 25% reserve that we try to keep on hand. We would still have that with a compromise motion. So I will offer a motion that we set the millage rate at 8.625.
Okay. The last time we came together, it was 8.725. That was the compromise that we did last time.
My memory is I offered 8.625 and then allowed myself to be persuaded to go up to the 8.725. And so what I am again offering is 8.625, the halfway between where we are and what the city says we need.
Any further discussion from council?
Oh my God, I just want to scream, y'all.
Okay.
Well, I'm definitely not with John and Jenny not raising it at all. Just want to let y'all know that. And if you're concerned about the residents, don't go up on their rent. Don't go up on the rent. That's assuming responsibility. Don't do that. I want the people to know that I am for the full 9, but if I do have to compromise, that's just what I have to do today. But it's not what I really want to do. I mean, this storm was scary to me. Like, scary. You prepare now for stuff like this. You don't wait to the last minute. You prepare now, y'all. You prepare now.
I don't think it's missed on any of us. This is it's a tough decision. And it's a decision that.
Mr. Mayor, point of order. I think you've got a motion on the.
Yeah, I got this.
Good.
Yeah. And just as a point of information, there can be discussion before that. So the motion is recognized. So this is a tough moment. But my philosophy personally and professionally is that you prepare for the worst of times during the best of times. That's when you prepare. The staff came to us 3 years ago and said 8.5. If we had done that 3 years ago, we probably would be looking in a different space right now. A year after that, they came and they said 9.125. We didn't do it. We compromised on them. And so now we've come back for the 3rd year in the same position. Each of these times, we dug into the reserves to help mitigate the cost of running government. And what I'm concerned about, and maybe Cindy, you can help me with this, how long has it been policy for the city of Statesboro to have that 25% reserve? How long has that been in place? Yeah.
At least 20 years.
At least 20 years. So, has the price of goods gone up in 20 years?
Yes, sir.
So, could it be safe to assume that policy is dated?
It could be, yes, sir.
It could be. Okay. 20 years. So, in my humble opinion, I like to go back to what we agreed to the last time, and go with the 8.725, and hopefully we can see growth, and we do not have to continue to our budget. So that's my 2 cents. So council, we're going to have to make a decision. $8.725.
So y'all not good with 8.725? Like, I'm giving, I can't have 9. Like, so y'all not, so nope, y'all really not compromising.
Ms. Chambers, obviously, from 8.125 to 8.625 is a compromise. It's just not as big a compromise as being requested. Respectfully.
Yeah, well, respectfully back, Ms. Moore, there are 2 other council members up here who have not compromised.
Okay. I'm firm on my stance. If something's gonna happen this year, I hope we don't have to raise taxes next year. I hope we have more taxes,
But John, you said that last year. You said that last year. We wouldn't be here if we would have did it last year.
I understand.
We keep coming back with this raising taxes every year. We're gonna be back next year. That's what we're trying to stop today. We can't keep doing this year after year after year after year.
And I'm telling you, we are putting our people, we know the truth. We know the truth. Now, let me tell you something. I don't give a damn about people in social media. I'm going to be blunt about that. They are not here. They are not a part of the budgets. John, you knew when we did this last year that we had $2.3 million. The bulk of that is going to public safety. We knew this. We knew this moment was coming. And we accepted it then. We knew it. And this is totally irresponsible to keep putting the citizens of our community through the same rigmarole. The same rigmarole. For 3 years straight, we've had the same exact conversation. And each time we do not do what we're supposed to do. And let me tell you something. I'm a faithful man. I believe in God. I believe Jesus is my Savior. But Jesus showed us 24 hours after we had this meeting, everything we talked about up here, it occurred. From a gentleman trying to rob a store and our police officer had to run him down, take the gun, take the money back to the store, arrest him, and take him to jail. And then we were hit with the worst hurricane that I've been telling y'all about for years. For years, we've had the same conversation, and we live in the South. This moment is going to happen. And it keeps happening. We keep coming back to the same space. And that's what my concern is. And you know, and let me tell you, there's no governing body in this region that's been more sensitive to the needs of the people. We helped feed we passed out 2 million food rations. We set up funds to help people with electricity. We delegate when families are in trouble as far as high intensity. We've done all of the things to help. We've done all of those things. And one of the things being in this space is that our people need to understand that it's going to be stability. And if we had done the right thing 3 years ago, we would not be in this space. Last year, the year before that, and we keep coming back to the same space.
Well, I'm ready to vote.
Yeah. And it's the same space. It's the same exact space. And just want to be clear. There is no program that the city has that's going to save $1 million. The only way to cut a budget like this from the general fund, which pays salaries, the only thing that can be cut are jobs. So that means cutting police officers, firefighters, public works, those kind of jobs. And I'm with John. I don't want to see none of our folks leave. Because when we were down 18 police officers, those gangs on the west side of the city was taking over. This year, y'all forget, this year, 2024, we had 5 people lose their lives to gun violence in this community. And let me be clear, the folks that's in social media, they don't live on that side of town. And it was not their children that we were standing up in those churches looking over at the dead bodies in caskets. And if it was happening in their neighborhood, I guarantee you, matter of fact, every time you went on social media, what was they saying? Oh, Statesboro was going to hell in a handbasket. We the new Savannah. And so we made the decision to bring on police officers to secure our city up. It's a tough decision. Ain't nothing up here. This ain't for the faint of heart. This ain't for the weak up here. There's 35,000 people judging us, and everything we do is wrong. We dumb as hell. We don't know nothing. That's what they believe. And we sit here and we go through this. And we talk with staff, we talk with chief, we try to find out what's the best solution, what are the best practices. And I'm proud of what this staff has done. Because they punch way above their weight class. Way above their weight class. And providing for this community. And so this is where we are. We agreed last time on a 3-2 vote on an 8.725. Sherry, I don't know why your mind has changed. But this is where we are. I personally agree with the 8.725, because that's where we are. So,
last comment, I'm not going to talk anymore.
Go ahead, John.
I'm not as dumb as I look. I'm a really, really smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is a highly informed decision that I'm making.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a while.
Right.
I've been reading the same budget book every year.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it. I remember when we had 90,000 in our fund balance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not being irresponsible. Period. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Anything?
I'm distressed at the tone and the accusatory, and I'm trying to not get into personalities and hurt feelings and all that sort of thing. But yet I am distressed. I appreciate everyone's efforts to remain civil. We've pledged to that, and we do that. And I'm glad that we do.
And let me apologize. I don't want to come across terse in my passion. And that's not, and if I sound like I was wanting to belittling that, let me apologize for that right off the bat. Because that's not what the intent is. The intent is to drive home the fact that we keep coming here. And the pain that we're looking to alleviate our citizens with, it's not occurring because we keep coming back to the same space. And that's what the place is. And up here, I believe everybody's heart is in the right place. I think we all talk offline, and I think we all know each other. And I know each one of us love this community. We get out, we do our part to help this community. And this is not an easy decision at all. It's not an easy decision at all. But I'm one of those people. I do the tough stuff first, so it can be easier down the line. It's much easier to roll back a tax rate. I would much rather, if we had done this last year and said, hey, let's go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off, as I said, rip the Band-Aid off, I would much rather be able to come back this year and say, you know what, let's roll those taxes back. That's what I would much rather be able to do, but we didn't do that. And we knew last year when we put it at the 8.1 instead of the recommended from the staff, that we will have to come back to this space. And I don't want to, and I personally, I care about each person up here, and I'm tired of seeing, I don't want to see y'all continue to keep going through this. So.
Well, it's not necessarily about our care and our respect for each other. We have that for each other. Yeah. Right now, we got to make a decision and it's on. Mm-hmm. And when I'm passionate about something, I'm passionate about it. Yeah. I don't want you to take that the wrong way, Sherry. I'm just passionate about what I'm passionate about. Yeah. And that's just my tone. I accept your tone for how it is. Mm-hmm. And I want you to accept mine for how it is. But as far as respect, you know I respect you to the utmost. Mm-hmm. Everybody up here to the utmost. But you need to accept my tone as well. Mm-hmm. This is just me. But I am ready to make a vote because we can't sit up here all night pondering. We got to do something.
There is a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
I second the motion that's on the floor. I'll go with 8.62.
8.625.
Well, I get every minute 8.625. If I get 8.626.
Bidding, can I hear?
Sheriff, is that accurate? 8.625.
That is the motion that I have made, yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
I second that.
You second? Okay, good deal. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All those opposed? Nay. All right. I will cast the deciding vote for 8.625. All right. And Statesboro, I hope y'all know this is not easy at all. Yeah. Not easy at all. We ain't gonna get all this. All right. So,
No,
we gotta do it again, 'cause I seen it down here again, so. Just wanna make sure we was procedurally right.
No, we're finished with that.
Okay, good, thank God. But I do say this right here, I'm proud of the work that this council is doing. I'm proud, I love the people that's up here. Me and Jenny were friends before we even got up here. Paulette, knowing you since she was young. John Bluebell until we died, Sherry, and the beloved community till the end. And so I'm proud of the work that we do. And I know the heart that each one of you have for this community. And so hopefully next year this time, we're in a great place. With that being said, we'll go ahead and move down to agenda item 3. Which is consideration of a motion to approve an award of contract to Thompson Consulting Services for debris removal, monitoring in the amount not to exceed $300,000. This is requiring FEMA in order to be eligible to receive reimbursement funding. If approved, this will be funded out of the general fund services. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, members of the council, at the last meeting, you approved $1 million contract for SDR for debris removal. And as part of the FEMA requirement, this is new to me, and I've done these before. FEMA now requires that you have an independent monitor, and so we then had to identify qualified monitors that could do this work. And who were available. In fact, we went to one of our consultants that does this work, and they flat could not take us as a client because of all the work that's going on because of the hurricane. And so the company, Thompson Consulting Services, they are an approved group that can provide that service, and they are available to us. I do want to speak to you a minute about this work that we're asking to be done. Earlier today, we did receive information from Representative Lena Franklin shared with me, and in some conversations with Tom Couch. He had also gotten some information from some folks in the state. One of the challenges with getting FEMA dollars, in my experience, and I think even in Statesboro experience, typically FEMA does not pay 100% for public assistance. Typically, we either pay 20 or 25% of that. And this morning, when we were meeting with the Speaker and the Lieutenant Governor, we even talked about if we had to do that, would the state be able to help out? Well, fortunately, the President of the United States has authorized that for the first 90 days of this recovery, public assistance will pay 100% for the cost. And so the other day you approved $1 million, and that was just a starting number. So as long as we can get this cleanup done in that 90-day period, and that 90-day period doesn't start now, it actually started September 24th. And we can get all this work done and get the number of passes done within that 90-day period, the city shouldn't have to pay anything. We should get fully reimbursed under public assistance. And so with that, I wanted you to know that, because the contract that you approved for $1 million, it's probably going to be more than $1 million. This $300,000 is eligible, but it's probably going to be more because just the number of passes that they have to do through the city to get all the debris that is all the wood debris that's down. But I just wanted you to know we got some good news along with the spending that we're going to have to do. But we do recommend approval of this contract.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you, Mr. Penny. Yes, that sounds great. So one small thing that locals can do now is to go ahead and reach out to the organizations and agencies that are here offering to help remove your debris and all. If locals, city and county, because the county is supposed to do the same thing. So anywhere in Bullock County, if you've got trees down, if you can get whatever help you can to get it to the roadside as soon as possible, then we can get reimbursed fully for the cost of hauling it away. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, Ms. Barr, another thing, and I don't want to correct you, but let's not talk for the county.
Right, I just saw that they posted the same thing to their citizens, so I reposted it. They're asking folks, get it to the right of way.
Because they may have some more different guidelines and and we don't want to.
I can't speak for the county, right?
But yeah, any debris, you got trees down, get your contractor, get your volunteers, get it to the street, and we will pick it up. And the other thing I just want to say, we also need to stress patience. We already have people with stuff out on yards and it's brown, but as soon as y'all approve this, tomorrow our intent is to issue the notice to proceed, and within 48 hours they can mobilize and we'll start doing the first pass.
Okay.
So we'll probably have 2 or 3 passes through the city, but we need people to get their stuff through the street because and we don't know if it'll be more than 3 passes, but after that they tell us this is the last pass, the people are going to be on their own.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Penny. Any further discussion by council? No? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, moving down to agenda item 3, consideration of a motion to enter into executive session to discuss real estate in accordance with OCGA 50-14-3B. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. G.